Alright, we are here to recap a little bit what we have done till now and what we have to do to rebuild this rocker assembly. So we talked already about the problem that we found on the rockers. There were two different problems. One was the worn out on the side of the spring, and the other one was the problem on the touching surface of the rocker on the top of the valve steam. Alright, this has been solved with a tool grinder, with a jig, specific jig has been ground, and the worn has been removed. I have some footage I will show you later. And the other side here has been turned on the lathe with a specific jig, which is a kind of expanding mandrel. This is on the lathe. There is a hole here which is conical. This is another male cone which is pressed into here, expand the mandrel and allows this to be steady, and so it's possible to turn here this surface and to bring it back to a usable surface. But later on I will add another spacer on the side of the spring, so this problem is gonna be solved for the future. Of course there is a problem of dimensions, but this dimension, so I turned the whole 8 rockers from 2/10 to 6/10 of a millimeter, which is not too much, but it might be significant because this surface, which has a radius and touches the top of the valve stem, it must be aligned with the valve itself. So we have to check again to see if it is not aligned. We have to compensate for this misalignment with the dimension of the spacers in order to move it left and right a little bit, and the steam of the valve should work in the middle, right in the middle, not too far away from the middle, about in the middle, right? That's the thing. So we have removed all the old bushings, and there are different dimensions. There's longer and shorter. Why? Because the rockers, they have different dimensions. This one, for example, which is the first cylinder and intake, has a width of 25.3, and this is the cylinder 1 exhaust is 28.3. Alright, in this one I have already installed the new bushing, which actually is split in two. This is a new bushing. It's split in two here, And the workshop manual says that as soon as you insert new bushings, and then later you have to ream it to a certain dimension, which is I think 31.5, but I have to check again because I'm going by heart, so I don't remember the exact number. I think it should be 13.5 millimeters. So later we have to, after we have inserted the new bushing here, which must be oriented because there are two holes that must correspond to another two holes here for the lubrication. Later we have also to ream them. And in the process of inserting the new bushing, I have used the first harbor that I made to extract the bushing, right? You see in a previous video when I was removing the old bushing is pressed out from the rocker with a hammer. They are not too strongly inserted, so it's possible to remove them with a hammer, and it's quite easy. So in the beginning I thought it was possible to use the same harbor, but I didn't realize that they are split. So as soon as you insert the new bushing into the rocker, it shrinks, and this harbor is too big, so I had to do another harbor which is a little bit smaller. This is actually 13.08 millimeters, and the other one when the bushing is inserted and worn, that's 13.4. All right. So if you use the extractor harbor, which actually fits here in the new bushing, it shrinks and actually blocks the harbor into the rocker, and then you can go ahead a little bit, and then you have to stop because it doesn't go through anymore, right? So that was like a mistake because I didn't consider this at the beginning, and so with the new harbor it was possible to push the new bushing inside here, right? Now there is another problem, because the bushings are actually a little bit longer. This is 28-38, and they are all the same. All the new bushings are the same. Part number 247738, produced in India. Okay. All of them are 28.3.4, and because we turn them, and also because there are two different width of bushings of rockers, this is 3 millimeters shorter. I did, and it was not intended to, I just started with a longer one by chance, and so this is just a little out, so I have to actually, to remove this, you can go with a file, alright, but yeah, I'm gonna scratch a little bit of surface here, so I don't think it's the way to go, right? It's a bit, let's say, time consuming, because I have to machine a new expanding mandrel, which now actually fits the new diameter here. the new diameter, which is 1324 before reaming. So we have round about 3/10 of a millimeter to remove to bring it to specs and to fit this to a new rocker shaft. This is the new rocker shaft. I told you already something about it. The old rocker shaft is this one, and it's worn, actually not too much, but it's asymmetrically worn, is worn on the lower side because the rocker is pushed up by the spring, and this action is moving around about 30 degrees up, back and forth, and it's worning out the rocker shaft itself here. So there is the problem is not only on the bushing, which actually with over time gets worn, but also on the rocker shaft. So it gets worn out, and also the bushing gets worn out. So the thing that the rocker shaft gets worn suggests me that this is not really, it's not hardened. It hasn't go through any heat treatment. So otherwise it wouldn't be that worn out here. We wouldn't have had any worn out here, because this is working against the bronze bushing. So the bronze bushing is supposed actually to warn and not the shaft. But here we have consumption on the bushing and on the rocker shaft. Both are worn out, which is, I think, is normal. I mean, this is something which is moving for years and years. This rocker shaft most probably is 40 years old from the day that the car has been produced. This is a car from 1985, so it's 39 years, and I think it's a normal that is worn out a bit, right? So since we are rebuilding the engine and checking all the worn spare parts, and so I decided to buy a new rocker shaft, new bushing, and here we are in the process of mounting them back, and it takes a while because you have to do several steps. So removing the bushing, okay, turning out this worn out surface, and then insert a new bushing, ream it to dimension, and mount everything back. And moreover, I have decided to add a new spacer here at the end of the spring, because I realized that this spring is working against the rocker, and over time it burns out the rocker itself. So to save the rocker from further damage, I will insert new spacer here and here, right? And I also have to check that imagine this is the valve stem, and the valve stem tip here is actually working right in the middle of the rocker surface here, right? Not here, right? Not there. And I have already noticed that the old mechanic, this engine has been rebuilt most probably because there were in the center mounting there were two spacers on one side and two spacers on the other side in order to reach this goal. So the rockers must be in the middle of the valve steam, and without the double spacer they are on a little bit on the side, so they're not working properly. So next action is to build a new smaller expanding mandrel to turn again on the lathe the excess of bronze here, so this surface is working against the spacer and not the bushing. And later we have to remit to dimension. I have to remit to bring it to 13.5, either with an expanding, this is not getting in, so I have to either modify it or use another reamer, which is maybe not an expanding one. I don't know yet. I have to think about it a little bit. Right? For now, I will insert all the new bushing. Then I will produce a new expanding mandrel to keep it and to remove the excess of the bushing, and then later we will think about the reaming part. Of course, the bushing itself has two holes that must be oriented with the other two holes which are inside here. You cannot see, but there are two, so you have to, there is a position. You cannot just insert them randomly into it. That they must be oriented so the holes match the position of the lubricating channels inside the rocker. It's a bit lengthy actually. It takes a while. It's not easy. Okay, it's not difficult. I mean, it's long. It's a bit long. All right. It takes time. But if you want to rebuild an engine, you have to take care of the details. Otherwise, this engine, it will worn out much quicker than expected, and then you're gonna have too much play into the distribution, the rocker assembly, you know, and so, and the more you have, the more play you have, the more worn you have. So I want to do it properly. All right. Thank you. See you next time.